Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, checking in on the MJ sector, we've got CGC with absolutely no follow-through, S&P 500 hitting all-time highs today, but the correlation was not favorable, the reason being a significant part of the bullish move of the S&P 500 occurred pre-market, so we opened higher, little bull move, and then consolidation most of the day. CGC correlated with the S&P 500 for that little bull move, didn't get any of the bull move associated with the pre-market action, and then correlated with the consolidation all morning. So we're in the scenario where we're grinding $38 support, and the bulls are doing absolutely nothing to change momentum on the daily time frame. Anything under 4107 was just a lower high, and this is a very weak bounce attempt and potentially a daily bear flag at this point. So CGC, if we get another leg down, after 38 support, the next level that we're going to be looking at is going to be down at 36.86, and then we'll take it from there. We'll see you before then. Cron on the daily time frame, also a weak bounce. Again, just no follow through. One day is nothing when you're in a downtrend. You have to put together multiple green days in a row or it doesn't change anything. Anything under 1645 is the lower high. We have a base of support down in the 1480s, but just a daily lower high being set, and we'll see if 1483 can hold. If not, there's a gap to fill at 1445. APHA, no follow through. So we're looking for a 2-day higher low to form on APHA, and there is no sign that that's happened yet. One green day doesn't do it. 635 is the must hold support level, and at this point I need to see a bull break. We had a double top today, but I have to see a bull break over the 680s to be confident that our 2-day higher low has been set, and we certainly don't have that confidence with the close at the low of the day today. ACB, no bounce, double top, 739. Daily inside bar, if we break 728, we look to 701. If we break 739, we're going to look for a daily lower high compared to 798, and that will give us this tightening equilibrium. In my opinion, the CTST CanTrust fiasco is without a doubt weighing on the Canadian MJ space, and every red day that we see where we go down 20%, 6%, 10%, it's really sucking the momentum out of this sector where everybody's wondering, is Health Canada now going to crack down on other names? Is it going to be an even less favorable regulatory environment? It's just not good news. It's not a good look for the MJ sector. And until we get some kind of relief or some kind of bounce or some kind of closure, I think that overhang, that dark cloud is overhanging the sector. TLRY. So the bull's trying to bounce a little bit. Anything under 48.48 is just a lower high on the daily time frame, keeping the bears in control. Lower highs and lower lows on the daily right now. No sign of a shift. The only good thing for the bulls is a bear break into a little bit of a bounce. So again, we're looking for a weekly higher low on these names that have bounced significantly. We're looking for TLRY, MedMen, CWEB. We're looking for all these names to give us weekly higher lows. And to see the confidence for a weekly higher low, we need to see losses of uptrends with no bear follow through. So if we could get another green day on TLRY tomorrow, that would be telling. Even if we don't break the downtrend lower highs, just not getting bear follow through to the lower lows is enough to keep us looking for a weekly higher low to form. OGI gave back the entirety of its bull move. So now we're looking at the daily higher low, still intact of 625, but the odds of seeing continuation from here are not likely at all. So 625 key support, and we've got resistance at 731, and I would expect a higher low compared to 625 to hold, and then a lower high. Looking at it on the 4-hour time frame, I'd expect some kind of 4-hour equilibrium to form into next week. Hexo, no follow through. Daily exponential resistance, anything under 554 was just a lower high. We're still in that lower high pattern, and there is no sign of the bulls. CTST, big time follow through. Bears are in full control. The articles are circulating. Nobody wants to hold overnight because there's headline risk. Who knows? Are they going to get their license revoked? It's just not worth it for the bulls at this point. Again, when we find a bottom, there will be a very nice and fast 15% bounce, but we have not found the bottom yet. I lucked out as I made a bet in the chat room that I would eat a banana with its skin on if we broke $3 today, and I was sweating, but we didn't, so that's fortunate. I had played CTST bullish 3 days in a row. 2% bounce, break even today. And actually today I missed a 0 on one of my orders and I only got 10% of what I was looking for. So I just exited that break even and was done with it for the day. If we get another gap down open, again, I'm interested in these bounces and I will look to continue to put myself in situations where I can potentially put a stop loss at break even and try and see an actual bounce play out with some follow through. The hourly time frame is still in a clear downtrend. I would consider anything under 369 still just an hourly lower high. So we've got the hourly exponential resistance to be watching, 369 resistance, 308 and 3 psychological. If we break 3 psychological tomorrow, I'll be interested in an oversold bounce play. But again, being very protective and personally probably not going to hold overnight because of the extra added risk. VFF, I keep saying what the bulls need to do to give us this 2-week high or low, and the bulls keep failing to do it. So we've got our lower high at 1179, a lower high at 1156, daily exponential resistance rejecting the price. We're looking down at 1069 support, which broke. Now we're looking at 1029, and the must hold level is 981 for this 2-week equilibrium to try and form. If we were to drop down into the mid $9 range anytime in the near term future, ideally with oversold conditions on the 4-hour and maybe even the daily time frame, I would be interested in potentially bottom fishing that support level. But as of right now, look at how long VFF has been in a daily lower high pattern. Ever since mid-May. We're almost 2 months now where every single bounce is a lower high. And that, of course, is what makes up a downtrend. T-God. So T-God, lack of follow-through. We did get a bull break over 337, but we closed at the low of the day. This bounce is certainly not giving a whole lot of confidence. It's a daily trend change with no follow-through. And actually, technically, we didn't change the trend because we dropped to 309. But the bottom line is it's a weekly bear flag possible. So again, we have to ask ourselves, the weakness in the Canadian MJ sector, if we are going to see the S&P 500 with weekly consolidation, which may be coming in the next couple weeks, how would that affect the sector? Would we see new legs down? And I would anticipate that's entirely possible and likely on all these names that are forming lower highs. So we have some names that have bounced significantly like TLRY, MedMen, CWEB, and most names have not. The sector has certainly not seen a sector-wide bounce, and we are still clearly in the fear and despair cycle of this market right now. So in previous videos, I was talking about how we're watching for the momentum to shift, watching for the end of the summer, or July specifically, to be when we get a shift in sentiment. It's happened on a few names. It has absolutely not happened on the sector as a whole. So remaining patient and cautious. And again, this is a great time to be getting familiar with other sectors. It's why I made the how to trade, or I should say it's called Intro to Gold and Miner video. I made that 6 months ago. And ETFs, the biotech sector, ETFs are giving great volatility every day. Cryptocurrency, great volatility. So again, don't give up on the sector. Absolutely not. There's going to be continued opportunity in both Canadian and US MJ for years to come, but there's multiple month periods where there is better opportunity elsewhere, and we don't want to be over trading in less than ideal situations. Now on to US MJ. GWPH is all about the fake outs the last couple of weeks. We had the bull break straight into a bear break, another bull break straight into a low of the day close. This makes me lose interest in GWPH. I'm not going to trade it anymore. It's still healthy on the weekly, but the red flag is bull breaks with no follow through. And when I see that, I look for clues. How can we get clues that we're going to top out? And what stands out to me is hourly RSI. Look at the hourly RSI over the last couple weeks. And we can say the hourly RSI is not getting over 70. So look at how many rejections in a row. Just under 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. We got the bull break straight into hourly RSI 70. It's almost like there's bots, and I wouldn't be surprised if this were the case, but automated bots to sell when the RSI breaks, let's say, 68. And watching the cryptocurrency space trade over the last 2 years, I've become very aware of how these bots are programmed into RSI levels, exponential moving averages, and they turn on and off when certain conditions are met. And that's potentially, that's just a complete speculative guess on GWPH. But like I said, it wouldn't surprise me because I do see it much more clear in other areas. And I know that automated trading is going on everywhere. KSHB, bearish reaction to earnings, but bulls bought the dip. All in all, bulls not complaining because we did keep the daily uptrend. 483 was the higher low. That level has held. Have we changed the hourly trend? Bulls have to see a break tomorrow of 512 to change this hourly trend and to be confident that our daily higher low has been established. And our key resistance is 541, the top of the move. IIPR double topped at the all-time high and pulled back. 137.78, 137.23. So it's all about the daily uptrend. Bulls must hold 123.07 to keep the daily higher low pattern intact. If we lose the daily uptrend, weekly consolidation will be coming. So it's all about 123.07 from here. Curaleaf had some end of the day shenanigans. And again, it's just defending support, whether it was automated or not. Can't say, but we had a flush, an all-out dump, and then look at that 5-minute candlestick. Bear break to the lowest price we've seen in months, straight into a bull spike of bulls saying, nope, we're not letting that happen. And it's clear, looking at this daily time frame, that bulls are defending bear breaks. It is a falling wedge pattern, but the bulls are struggling to break out from it. The 4-hour exponential resistance continues to be a short-term guide, and we have to see a break of 916 to get over this 4-hour exponential resistance. From there, we would zoom out and watch the daily exponential resistance, but it's worth keeping an eye on it because, again, somebody is defending Curaleaf support levels, and the question is, will we then see the selling pressure dry up and the bull volume make some kind of move? So again, I have my interest in Curaleaf, but bulls have proving to do. Playing defense is great. Can they go on offense? OH, continuing to show weakness after its bear break. We're looking down at 760, and the question is, can the bulls hold a weekly higher low and change the trend, or is this a weekly bear flag to confirm lower lows? GTII has already confirmed a weekly bear flag. We dropped down to a lower low. Granted, the daily time frame did not get followed through, and it's a bullish reversal candlestick. We'll see if the bulls can do anything with it. Anything under 1427, just a daily lower high, so certainly not getting too excited just because bulls bought the bear break. But if we broke to a lower low on the weekly of GTII, the odds that it can happen on OH are certainly present as well. IAN, lower lows, close at the low of the day, still very weak. The daily RSI is only just now getting oversold. Again, this is not an extreme dump where the RSI gets real beat up real quick. It's a slow fade where the RSI slowly fades down. The 4-hour RSI is oversold, but it did cool off a tiny bit on a 4-hour bear flag. I'll be interested in IAN again if we drop down to 350 or so. And it's the kind of pattern where I am watching to see if this support line can hold, and that lines up with about 350. But again, no sign of the bulls doing anything on IAN, and it's definitely standing out comparative to other names where it is one of the weakest names in the USMJ sector. It was MedMen. That is no longer the case. MedMen saw one of the strongest bounces in the USMJ sector. IAN is now taking the lead as technically the weakest name in the USMJ sector out of the more major players, not referring to low cap penny stocks or anything like that. And when we do bounce on IAN, again, we can't get excited. So this morning we saw some strength, but it was just an hourly lower high, and what stood out to me was hourly exponential resistance rejecting the price for 6 days in a row, and we rejected yet again this morning. Multiple rejections throughout the day, so I can clearly say to myself, if the bulls cannot get over this exponential resistance on the hourly time frame, the bulls aren't going anywhere. MedMen, not a strong follow-through day for the bounce attempt. If we drop down and break to a lower low of 314, again, we're watching, can the weekly higher low form? Can the bulls change the weekly trend? And we would pretty much have to see, like I said, a bear break with no follow-through to give us confidence that weekly higher lows can be established on some of these names that have seen the stronger bounces. Speaking of that, let's look at CWEB. CWEB had a very bullish day today and gave it all back with a big upper wick. It looked like we were going for continuation, and now it's looking like a 4-hour equilibrium is most likely. High of 24.49, low of 2081, lower high of 2350, and we're scouting a higher low compared to 2081, and we'll look for a break Friday or Monday of this tightening range. Could lose the daily uptrend. If we break 2081, daily uptrend is lost, and we zoom out to look for a weekly higher low on CWEB. TRUL, bears in full control, breaking support 1335 is a double bottom. That's the only support in sight. Weekly bear flag being confirmed if we break that level, and then we're looking down at 13 psychological, and 1263 is the next level from there. Bottom line, sector is still very weak. Individual names have better setups than others, but the S&P 500 is at all-time highs, and we're seeing the sector this week. So the market right now is not interested in neither Canadian nor US MJ. Canadian MJ, like I said, the cloud overhang, spooking perhaps some longer-term investors, but we're just waiting for the cycle to shift because there will be significant bullish opportunities in this sector yet again. It's just a matter of time. I've been through at least 5 or 6 MJ cycles, starting in penny stocks, couple in Canada, and just patiently waiting for the shift in momentum. Again, your game plans need to be established, and they're either trading game plans where you're in and out and being very protective, or investing game plans, which is much more passive and much more hands-off. And if that's your strategy, that's just fine. But again, that game plan has to be established. The last thing you want to be doing is trying to be a short-term trader, a swing trader, get stuck in a red position, and next thing you know, you're bag holding and now you're investing. That's the last thing you want to do. You want to be investing at the get-go, that's fine. But to turn a short-term position into a long-term position just because you didn't exit when you intended to do it, that is not a good way to be trading. So personally, I do have some longer-term positions. Like I said, I've got some IAN. I exited my OH and locked in that profit because of the bear break, and I'm still interested in Curaleaf. But other than that, the most notable thing about that for me is that's money that I'm not going to touch for 2 years. I don't need it for 2 years. I have plenty of other capital for trading, so the opportunity cost of that money is not significant to me. So again, opportunity cost is a factor. If I'm going to use up all my funds scaling into long-term MJ plays right now, I'm not going to have money to be trading crypto, or I'm not going to have money to day trade the biotech sector or the bull miners and leveraged ETFs. So that's a factor as well. And at this point, you're seeing a lot of despair out there. Again, it's the exact opposite of euphoria. We're in a cycle right now where you remember when everybody was partying and everybody had money growing on trees and everybody was pumped. This is the exact opposite of that. And just like that passed and turned into this is going to pass, and it's going to turn into euphoria again. It's just a matter of time. The US is waiting on a catalyst. That catalyst might not come for 6, 12, 18 months, but we're confident that it will come, and when that shift does take place, there will be very easy money to be made when it's a real shift as far as rescheduling or some other major political event. So try not to get beat up about it. I know looking at your account every day and seeing red and red and red can get depressing. The best bet, if you are a long-term investor and not touching until we get some legal changes in the US space, is just don't look. I appreciate you watching. We'll continue to check back in, specifically tomorrow. But we're probably going to see some more red because the bulls showed us nothing today, and we're on the verge of some key supports breaking, and SPY has not even started to consolidate. So I appreciate you watching. Do good things, and we'll see you tomorrow. So today we're going to talk about lawns. We've got some magnolias blooming, and I haven't put chemicals in this for a while, so there's algae growing in it, but going to throw some snails and things in there. But I want to talk about lawns, this space right here. Eventually I'm going to, over the winter, I plan on putting a big tarp down, cutting a circle in it, putting weight on it, and killing the grass to plant a bunch of perennial flowers and potentially some blueberries and things here. But this is probably the longest that this lawn has gotten in years, because the person who used to live here was a career landscaper, and just watching the neighbors, everybody mows their lawn once a week, keeps it nice and golf course small. And if you look at the lawn, how many flowers, I don't know if you can see it, but the amount of flowers that are currently blooming because I've let it grow multiple weeks, there's literally thousands of flowers here. So when you have thousands of little flowers, And again, I doubt you can see it, but just looking straight across, there's a bunch of insects that are using the flowers for pollination. So you let your lawn grow, you get a bunch of flowers, whether it's weeds or whatever, and then you get a bunch of insects, and then there's a bunch of birds to eat the insects, and it's just this whole ecosystem that starts to develop that you don't have if you mow your lawn every single week. It's a little bit of a sanctuary. The squirrels and the chipmunks can use it for cover, and it's just a different world than if you would just cut it. And just going around here, this path, all these little weeds, eventually when they get big enough I'll pull them, but I came out here the other day and I was gonna start pulling some weeds, and I looked at this one weed and I thought, look how many bugs are eating these leaves. Why do I care if there's a little green thing there? If it flowers and spreads its seed, then yeah, maybe I'll get it before it reaches that point. But there are things that are eating it, and I could care less if there's a little bit of green in the mulch here. So that's just a different perspective that you don't get taught. And it was interesting because, you know, I grew up with my dad who liked his lawn like many people's dads did. And the other day we got that wood slab pile delivered, and the truck drove onto the grass, and it's a part of the grass that we're going to be covering anyway. And I had this instinctual reaction, oh, not on the grass. And I had to catch myself and say, but that doesn't matter at all. And it was just really interesting to observe that that was my reaction that has been burned into my being from growing up. So if you can, let things grow, provide sanctuary for plants and animals, and there's no reason that we need a flat, picture-perfect lawn. See you next time.